So I finished the VR trip in its entirety. As you can see, we end at Christ the Redeemer. But thought, since you don't have a VR headset, I want to share some thoughts with you. So this was pretty exhausting. It took me a span of a couple days. I think I liked the Dublin challenge a bit more, just because it was more urban. There was long stretches in this journey where it was just going through the jungle. That was pretty exhausting. But anyways, it it's pretty satisfying. This is always the most satisfying part when you finish a tour and you are standing at a high point and everything speaks to you. So we started over there. Just to recap, we started over there, the fort, and we went around that peninsula and went around that cove, very industrial and ghetto. Walked around that what was that? What was that town called? Yeah, San Francisco and Ikarai, and what was it? Nidaroy. That's where the museum is, I think, somewhere over there. That's the museum by Oscar Niemeyer. And then we took this really long bridge over here, walked around the dockside. There's a lot of graffiti there, really pretty ones actually. Artwork painted on the port walls, and then we walked around the coast until I think it was somewhere. I think it was probably over there where the Calatrava building is. And then we walked through Centro, a good amount of Centro, and that's downtown. We went through a flea market, pretty much, shopping markets. Pretty ghetto there. There's a lot of police with actual like SWAT gear just standing around, just making sure everyone's safe. From there, we cut through downtown, going this way. I think we hit this and then went around. Somewhere over here, can't really tell where, but somewhere over here, we let's see. Estaccio. Yeah, so it should be somewhere over there. We saw the carnival, and which is pretty cool. You should get a VR headset. Let me share what I saw. So this is from the 2015 carnival, and someone actually was able to record footage while they were walking in the carnival. And yeah, it's pretty wacky. They choose a theme and go with it for each float. So this one is a castle with medieval stuff. There's the cavalry in front, and these are gargoyles, but they're hunky guys in gargoyle suits. That one's the Ice King. I even saw one with Willy Wonka in the back. These are a bunch of Einsteins. So the energy here is pretty awesome, even though it's quiet. But you could definitely. I felt really excited seeing it, and in the daytime, it just looks like this. So when no carnival is going, it's pretty vacant, of course. Back to our picture here. So once we finished the carnival, we kept on going that way, and this was just blue collar, suburban art apartments, and then it got to a more blue collar area, and then got to a kind of ghetto-y area. That's the Brazil football stadium. So a lot of famous moments there with Messi and Pele. I think Pele got his like 10,000th goal over something, or 1,000th goal. I'm not sure. I don't watch football, but anyways, famous soccer arena. And then we cut through a bit of the national park of Tijuca. So we cut through here some of the national park Tijuca. I think it was here, not here. I think it was through here. We cut through that. By the way, this is one of the biggest urban city parks in the world, obviously, because that whole thing is considered a urban city park. We cut through here, which was pretty boring, very ghetto-y, and came out the other side and went into Pedro Branca, which is another park, and this drove me nuts. This was so fucking boring. Good thing that it kind of cuts off, but it gets like, even just leading up to here, it really felt like Taiwan, to be honest. And I guess that's how it is with with tropical villages up in the mountains. Kind of, you can see the scene here. It's just this type of scenery for quite a bit, and then I actually had to go hike into the jungle. Actually, this is not so bad. From the other end, it was kind of annoying. So a lot of clicking through this, yeah. And then, well, actually, we can't really see from Christ the Redeemer, because this is kind of blocked off. But we come out from this end, and when we finally get to this stretch, the Praia over here, this is where I started to realize, okay, so Brazil has some nicer areas, not the best, of course, especially compared to LA, but you can tell this is where like the white people live, or where the resorts are. It gets more exciting down the road. This whole stretch is just beach and a lot of bars like this. This is where they have their bars. I can tell that's probably where they have their parties. So we kept going down this way. I'm surprised they have Decathlon. That's pretty cool. But yeah, we keep going here, and then eventually it made us hike this mountain. So if we come back to Christ the Redeemer, there's a ton of peaks here, right? But they actually made us hike up that peak, and I actually went through the crazy jungle portion of it. I actually did hike up. Was it this one? Yes. Oh my god, this was treacherous. Just going up, and I don't know how normal people would go. Look at this steep climb, and a lot of stretches were like that. They didn't have a footpath. Like, had to risk life and limb to get up there. So yeah, I did that all in VR, and actually kind of enjoyed it. And got a pretty cool view out of it too. So yeah, see. So this was kind of mostly all the way up, but that was kind of the stretch that was the Pedro Branca that we came out of. We hiked down this coast over here. We do go through this axis, which turns out is nothing. It's just a neighborhood, and that's the neighborhood park, but it looks pretty awesome from up here. And then we came up this mountain, pretty much like directly up. And then once we get to the flat peak, the plateau, we can look down, and they'll make us go down and hike along this beach again and go through. That is Rocinha, which is Brazil's definitive and biggest favela. That's the favela that the movies always feature. I think in Incredible Hulk and Fast and Furious. That's the favela. And then the Conquest Challenge made us do an impossible leap. So yeah, this is where I realize they make some artificial leaps. So they directly made us leap to that peak, and then we went down this mountain, hiked along the beach a little bit, actually along the highway, I think, and then into Rocinha. This is the favela, and you can actually go into the favela, which is pretty crazy. So I did walk as much as the favela as Google lets me, and it's pretty cool. Like, I mean, I wouldn't want to be here in the evening, the women look okay. The tourists, if there are any, they look okay. But that's kind of just like the men that you'll see in this whole area. They don't. All of them look like sex traffickers, to be honest. They look sketchy as hell. But this is Rocinha, and this is also where I found one of the coolest drone shots I ever found. Really high fidelity, and you can see pretty much the entire favela in its entirety from this drone shot, which is nuts. That's the plateau that we're just looking down from. And this is the favela Rocinha. Really cool stuff, isn't it? And that's Christ the Redeemer up there. So from here we could go back to Christ the Redeemer. And so that's Rocinha. We came out over here, and instead of going to the beach, they made us walk up here. So that's just a horse racetrack, and there's a botanical garden that they actually make us walk through. Then we walk through here. This is all good apartments. So I think this is where the wealthy people live. They make us walk all the way over here and then loop back around this pedestrian walkway. So this is lined with a lot of parks, courts to do sports in, a resort over there. And so just this entire area, you can tell, like, with all the white people exercising, it's a pretty safe area, a nice area. And then around here, that's where I started today. I went to probably 2 hours by now. I went over there. We will go over there eventually. And that's Ipanema Beach. So if you know that song, Girl from Ipanema, it's about this. And they actually did, it was inspired by a girl that they saw there. Listened to the song twice as I walked down Ipanema Beach. And we cut through over there and continue our way. And this is Copacabana. So Copacabana Beach, halfway through there, somewhere around there, that's where the Copacabana Palace is. The hotel, one of the most famous hotels in Brazil, apparently. And then we cut through this way, and they made us go to that peninsula. And there's a nice trail that goes up. You could take the cable car, of course, but those are two of the peaks. And that's where it kind of hit for me that, hey, I know Brazil pretty well now. So this is the higher of the two peaks. So that's Christ the Redeemer, cable car to the smaller peak. And here I was able to see, well, this looks like a mess, but that's kind of where we began, and then the bridge and everything. So this is where I was able to kind of review our trip. And yeah, Copacabana. So going back to Christ. After we came down, that's the, I think, Botafogo area, and also the beach over there. And then they made us trek through. By the way, that whole thing, I thought it looked really exciting. Turns out it's it's a cemetery. Cemeteries always look really neat, don't they? Why can't I find it now? I was just seeing it a moment ago. Oh, there we are. See, they did dedicate quite a huge space in the city for their cemetery. So I went through St. Teresa, which is a colorful colonial neighborhood. It looks kind of ghetto, to be honest, though, and it is pretty ghetto, but it is historical. What's not, right, when your country is this old? And then the last stretch was just painful. I think this was St. Teresa, where I was walking through. It was such a slog. And then the last stretch was hiking up this mountain to get to Christ the Redeemer. I think most people, they take a cable car, but Conquest made me do it the hard way. And yeah, he doesn't look that big, very Art Deco in style, but nice statue. I really like it. If you see it from the bottom, where my previous shot is, I think it looks pretty nice. I'm not into Art Deco statues, but I think this one complements the scenery really, really well. There's a really beautiful view of Rio, which, by the way, their R's are spelled pronounced with a H, so it's actually Rio de Janeiro. And yeah, we are about 40% right now. I think we're both. You're a little ahead of me. I think you're over here and I'm over here. So quite a bit to go, but pretty great VR trip. I like how they planned it. Just parts of it was a slog, and bogged down by my unwillingness to just jump ahead.